Hello everybody, VG Time here, straight from Nationals, to bring you my Undefeated Team Wars Yellow Starter Goku deck. I also played this deck in the main event. Didn't quite go like I wanted it to, but still went positive on the record, so I could be happy about that. Still got a little bit of prizing. But still, great deck, so I just want to bring it to you. So, we have the leader. If you're familiar with the leader, it does a whole lot for the deck. So the first thing is that it has the ability to awaken on turn 1, because the first thing it does is search its top 10 for a 1-cost Earthling only battle card, which gives you cool toolboxing. And then if you have a Yamcha or a Bola in play, you're able to awaken, untap 1, draw 1, and take life down to 6. That is usually not what you want to do on the first turn, especially if you're going first. But if you're going second and you need to generate aggression on their matchup, it's not a bad idea. On the backside, he becomes Great Ape Son Goku, and this guy completely wrecks certain matchups, right? So he has an auto that when you swing with him, you could rest one of your cards. It doesn't have to be a battle card or unison, so in a pinch, if you have extra energy, you can always rest that as well. But what happens is it allows you to draw a card and switch all your opponent's non-energy cards to restful. So that gives you the ability to get around blockers and several other annoying things, or set battle cards in a position to be destroyed by your other cards that you have. It has an activate battle that allows you to combo on your turn with a Earthling from your drop area, which is decent for generating Zenkai energy. And overall, just really cool leader. So he has, of course, an engine that goes with him. So we played 4 copies of the Bulma Unison. The Unison is really key to the whole deck working. You could experiment with other Unisons as well, but once you take her out the game, it usually is a really terrible feeling because then it strands several cards in your hand. So you gotta be very careful with doing that. She has the ability to, as a permanent, to give yellow non-grade 8 Kid Goku's +5. So it makes your 10Ks that you run in deck 15s and your 15s 20s. Then the +2 allows you to play a 3-cost or less Kid Goku from your hand into the field. And the -1 allows you to untap her, to restand her, to make her a blocker when your opponent swings with a card. You can't block that same attack, but it allows you to prepare for another attack, assuming they don't have a way of removing markers from her. So next up we have our 1-drops. We have our Yamcha and we have our Bulma. They're both pretty key to make your opponent, or make your battle card awaken. This guy is Barrier, he's the best one. He top 5 searches for a Bulma, a Kid Goku, or the Unison. And that allows you to just have something out there sticky. She draws you a card, and they both have the ability when they're switched to rest mode to restand themselves with different results. Yamcha, when he restands himself, is able to restand a Kid Goku that has not attacked that turn that was in rest mode. And the Bulma allows you to pitch a card, draw a card, and restand. So they're both solid cards, but you usually want to be on the Yamcha. To continue on with the rest of the engine, we have 4 copies of Explosive Spirit, absolutely necessary. You tick up with the Unison, you play it, you get able to pop their battle cards in rest mode. It's a barrier blocker, and with the Unison, it allows it to be a 15K swinger, and it untaps itself at the end of the turn. This is a card I'm playing that most people aren't, but I'm playing 2 copies of No Opening Son Goku. It is a 110K, so 2 copies is enough. It's also searchable off the Yamcha, but a lot of people did not realize that as long as you combo it on your turn, it doesn't matter if it's from the hand or not, it gets to come back into play. When it comes to the play off of that skill, you're able to add up to 1 life to your hand, and it's in rest mode. So what you want to do is you want to swing with something, combo it into play, even if you already have it on the table, and then use the 8 plus Yamcha to draw 2 cards, because the Yamcha restands himself in this guy and it draws you an additional card. He's a 20K swinger. In a pinch, if you already have one established and you've been looping it, you could +2, play another one off of the Bulma, and now you have 2 20K beaters. Then we have the Ape. The Ape, unlike other decks, I only run 2 copies because my first thing I do, I mentioned that he draws cards, but he also is able to search a Great Ape Goku from the deck when he swings, if you decide to do that instead of drawing a card. And that's what I normally do on my first swing is I get this guy because he's necessary for the Z leader. I hardly, if ever, evolve him because it's just too expensive. And I know you can play the 4-drop, but I'd rather have room for the tech that I'm running in the deck. So now we go to utility. I have 4 copies of Repulse. It's kind of stable. 3 copies of Cooler because it's cooler. And then the first thing I'm running that most other players who are running it this weekend are not running is a Slug package. The Slug package is super instrumental to outing certain matchups. There's like entire matchups that if you just stick a Slug, they just become garbage. One example is the Mirror. So the decks are revolve around the 4-drop, making this guy cheaper. You can't make this guy if Slug is on the table. Same thing is like if Slug is on the table and you're going against SS4, they can never make the big guy. So they have to dedicate all their efforts into getting rid of the Slug. I spoke about Slug gravity plenty of times. It's very real. The other card I'm running that nobody else was running but everybody was impressed by is Shazami, Frieza Force Elite. So this super combo is live as long as you have a Unison. And so you are able to you can actually use it at very high life. Most of the games on 1, I have been at 5 or 6 life for the entire game. And part of it is because of this guy right here. Sometimes if I really wanted to go down in life, then I would use the no openings to get down to the lower life total. Our SCRs, of course, Gohan Piccolo. Another one, you can use at any life total as long as your opponent has 5 more cards in rest mode. You can do it for free. And I sometimes just use it offensively early on and push people down to very low lives with a bunch of barrier guys on the table that they had to worry about. And they usually early on did not have the way to out him. And it was just, out there for multiple turns. Or they would dedicate their entire turn to outing him, going negative because they're not getting cards off a Slug. Another piece of tech, Goku Black. So Goku Black is basically a paid version of this card, but you can use only 1 energy to do it. You pay 1, you send it to the warp, you draw a card, you pop it on their guys in rest mode, and then later on in the game, when they least suspect it, you can pay 2 to play it because it just requires 2 blue or yellow battle cards in your combo area or on the field, and you're going to always have it. Bergamo, because he's a great card. Poutine, great card. My overwhelming choice is Feign Greeting. We don't really have a lot of energy to work with, so you don't want to be messing around with other overwhelms, even though they're really cool. Then we have, this is actually 4 copies, but someone is borrowing it right now. 4 copies are released from Evil. This card is somewhat MVP. So you use Release from Evil on their leaders that have key abilities, and you use Release from Evil on Vegeta Z battle card. And that usually is enough to help you win games. Restrain. Restrain is an amazing turn 1 play against SS4. Otherwise, it's just good to have a hard negate that's outside of Repulse. Speaking of which, we have Power to Super Saiyan. I mainly use it as a hard negate. The activate battle didn't really come up too much. A lot of things just have barrier, or people just know how to play around it nowadays. And then 2 copies of Final Flash for the main that rounds out the deck. So that is what I played in Team Wars. I have a side deck for the main event. I'll just flash it real quick so you can see what's going on. Nothing special. But we played 2 copies of Vegeta Unison. Of course, that's for the SS4 matchup. And then you sometimes Red Sim, but it's really fragile there. 2 copies of T-Blow. Just overall good. It came in handy versus Android 16. 2 copies of Chi-Chi. Ass. 2 copies of Android 17. It came up, just not the way I thought it would. 17 was really good in the Red Sim matchup. So you would hold your energy up because you was expected to be able to use the gates. But if they just make 2 guys, you just play this right here. You blink one of them, and if they get rid of him, because he's usually the only target you can get rid of anything on the field, then you just blink the other one, and then they get blown out. 2 copies of Vegeta, because he pops things in rest mode. 2 copies of Forbidden Power. 1 more Flash. 1 Mechikabura. And lastly, this Son Goku, because your boy cannot afford Smoke Dragon, and he does most of the job. So that's it for the deck. The Z deck is kind of generic because there's not too much you can really do with it right now. We have 1 copy of the Z Leader. Some people run multiples, but you don't really go into the Z Leader that often. MVP card is Goku right here. You play it, you lock out their leader or their biggest threat, and then while it's down there, similar to the Slug, they have to dedicate mad resources to stopping it. 2 copies of this Gohan. Never played him once, so he's not going to be there anymore. 1 copy of Oolong. Played him once. And then 1 copy of this Vegeta, which is usually the other option you have to go down to 3 if you wanted to go to the Z Leader. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck profile. I will show you what I played in the LCQs and on another video. And I'll catch you next time. VG Time signing out.